I finished this incredible chapter shawl. I could not be more in love with this project. I probably say that when I finish every project because each one represents a different time or period in my life where something different is going on. And looking at my collection of projects, I am always reminded of where I was when I made it, what was going on, and I didn't really put this together until I was finishing up this shawl, but this one being called the Chapter Shawl is kind of perfect because I think it really represents the chapter of my life that is going on right now. I was working on the finishing touches of this a couple of weeks ago, I think on Mother's Day, while my kids had this huge pile of Legos out in the playroom and I was working on this, all of these beautiful colors, all knitted together, and I was thinking about how well the color palette matched the pile of bright rainbow Legos and how what a kind of crazy coincidence that was, because I wasn't starting out to make a bright rainbow shawl. I was just picking colors that really made me happy. And it makes a lot of sense that I picked all the same colors that were in that pile because that's something that I see all day, every day. A pile of Legos is a staple in my house with 3 little boys. So I don't know what it was about this project that made me just want to go like all out with the color. I carefully arranged what colors would go in what order so that they would overlap on this project beautifully. This is a pattern by Lily Kate Makes. I really love her style. Just her overall aesthetic, all of the details that she puts into her patterns are beautiful and so thoughtful. The construction of this pattern was something that was really interesting to me. I really didn't fully grasp how it was going to work out until I was in it and doing it. But basically you start at one end at the tip and then you increase. And then when you get about, when you get about to the middle, then you turn and you start working this way and start eventually decreasing. Kind of crazy the way that this thing is made. And I just really can't wait to wear it. I just finished it, finished the border, woven all my ends finally. But she really needs a nice block and to get her little bubble bath going, so I thought we'd do that together. So we are now in my little bathroom right next to my office. This is actually a Jack and Jill situation with my oldest's bedroom. So I have this like little sink area right off my office, which for me is always used for blocking. I have my trusty little foldable wash basin. I love this thing because I can put it away. It's the perfect size for a smaller project. Perfect. And I am going to be using my very own wool wash. This is in the fragrance French Linen. I wait for this fragrance to come back every single spring. I stockpile it. I definitely have a couple of these 8-ounce sizes just around the house. So I don't need very much for this shawl. I'll just do a little drizzle. It already smells so good. It's like a eucalyptus cotton fragrance. It's only here for the spring, unfortunately. So if you want to try a eucalyptus cotton fresh, like laundry hanging on the line scent in your wool wash, it's amazing. Okay, now we are all bubbly and we can go dunk. Okay, so we have our wool wash ready. Not hot water, just barely like lukewarm room temperature. Hot water is always going to make yarn bleed more if it is something multicolored or something that like has a tendency to bleed, like red. Red dye is the most notorious for bleeding. I'm not concerned about that with this. All of these colorways should be fine, but you can never be too safe. So especially with a multicolored project, I like to just err on the side of caution and have room temperature water. This is actually just a touch chillier than room temp, but that's fine. That's gonna do what we need it to do. I'm gonna just grab a towel for when this is done so I can roll it up, and then we'll chat more about gardening. Okay, so while she's marinating, I've been in my gardening era for a few years now. I first got into gardening during COVID. Everything was shut down in the springtime, and I had some flower beds that really needed some attention in my front yard. So I just kind of started YouTubing and reading articles and trying things, and I've basically just kind of experimented every spring since then. So now I've been gardening, I guess this is my 6th year tending to a garden. I've learned a lot, and I've killed a lot of things. So I've been very ambitious pretty much every year. I've tried tons of new plants, new areas of my yard and my garden. I've just been like a big risk taker where my garden is concerned, which is interesting because I'm not much of a risk taker in any other part of my life. And I've learned some very expensive lessons, because anyone who has gotten into gardening before knows that plants are not necessarily cheap. But I'm someone that I love a hobby. I love having something to tend to, something to check up on, and the gratification when a flower blooms or a tomato ripens that you grew yourself is just next level. So, but this year I am being a little bit less ambitious, because I know the season of life that I'm in with 3 little kids. In the past, my garden has stressed me out. I'll be honest. By the end of the season, when things aren't going as planned or it's just a lot to maintain, it becomes something that feels like more of a chore than a fun hobby. So this year, I decided to kind of pull back and be a lot more restrained with what I'm doing in my garden. I'm leaving a lot of things that are perennials alone and just kind of caring for them. And then the things that I have put in are things that I've grown before that I know how to take care of. Some of the things that I have in my garden right now that are thriving are catmint. I honestly don't even know what variety it is. A landscaper put it in for me, but it has just been going crazy. It already is like its spring flush of blooms are already needing to be cut back, which I always hate doing that part. I know that it's good for the plant, but gosh, that haircut is painful sometimes. I also have put in a whole bunch of butterfly bushes because I had one of them and it just did really well. It's coming back very strong. It takes like almost no maintenance, which is fantastic. And then the other plant that I really love and I've put more of in this year are called spirea, and they're just kind of like a big bushy plant. They're growing about 4 feet tall in my garden right now, and they have these big clusters of teeny tiny little flowers. And those clusters of flowers, the one that I have are hot pink, but I also just got another variety that I believe blooms purple. So I'm kind of creating a hedge of those at the side of my garden. So I'm really excited to see the new ones grow in nice and full. I also have a limelight hydrangea. I have a couple of crepe myrtles. And then I have just some annuals throughout. I think I have some alyssum. I think I might have space to add a couple of new things, so I'll give y'all a garden update as I plant a little bit more. Around the studio recently, we have been working on shipping a whole bunch of home yarn for Andrea Mowry's brand new knit along for her new flock vest design. You may or may not know that I have historically vended at Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle in the summertime every year since it started. This year will be my 4th year going. And I always look forward to planning what we're going to bring to our booth, how we're going to decorate it, all of those things. But this year I'm trying to be a little bit more intentional with what I'm wearing to Flock. In the past, I've just kind of worn whatever samples I had to coordinate with the yarn that we're bringing to the booth, but this year I wanted to make something specific for the event, and I'd been thinking about that for a good portion of the spring. And then Andrea Mowry shared that she designed a vest pattern specifically for the event and that she was going to host a knit along for it. I knew pretty much right away that I wanted to participate because I don't think I've ever participated in someone else's knit along before. I've hosted my own knit alongs and crochet alongs, but I don't think that I've ever been a participant and just a crafter following along in someone else's event. So I think that it was just really exciting to me to be a part of a bigger event hosted by someone else. I just wanted to be like just one of the crafters. So then looking at the specific yarn required for the project, I needed 3 colors and I needed it to be in a heavy DK or worsted weight. And what yarn would be perfect for that but my home yarn line? It was also kind of a quick turnaround from when she posted about the pattern to the knit along starting. So if I had wanted to use hand-dyed yarn for this, I would have needed to use something I already had. I didn't really have time to put together something special or dye something special for it. But with home, it was all just ready to go. And let me tell you, I had a time trying to decide what color palette I wanted to use, because with home, there's 20 colors. They're all very mix and matchable. There's really no 3 that you could put together that look bad. And I started putting together palettes and thinking about ideas, what I wanted for my main color, what could go with it. And I was having a really hard time narrowing it down. And I was kind of seeing online that a lot of other people were interested in participating in this knit along. So I thought that there might be other people out there that need some yarn for this project quick, fast, and in a hurry as well. So I decided to put together kits for the project so that anyone that wanted to participate could, and could do it with home. If you haven't seen my home yarn line before, it is a project that I worked on for a few years before bringing it to the marketplace last year. It actually debuted at Flock last summer and on our website at the same time. And we've had it ever since, and it has become very quickly a beloved part of my yarn business and a beloved part of my stash. I love being able to send yarn in the mail to all of my yarn friends all over the world anyway, but to be able to send something that was created so thoughtfully and over such a long period of time. It was definitely the longest project that I've ever worked on, probably the biggest undertaking in terms of time investment, financial investment, space. It's a huge project. So to see it so well received last summer and all the way up until now is just a joy. So I think that the number one question I get asked is, what should I make with home? So when this knit along came along with Andrea Mowry's pattern and it being perfectly suited to the yarn, being able to use 3 colors. I love a multicolored project. I'm not too much of a color work girly, but obviously I love a stripe. My whole wardrobe might be striped if that was possible. So I just felt like it was the perfect thing. So since then, all of that came out maybe a week and a half ago. So I've been shipping flock vest kit orders just about every day since then, and I'm continuing to. Luckily, it's a DK worsted weight pattern, and with no sleeves, it works out pretty quick. So whether you're going to flock and you want to make it in time, you definitely have plenty of time still to start now and make that. And the knit along is still going on if anyone wants to participate. But even if you're not going to flock, even if all of that is irrelevant to you, it's still such a cute pattern and a quick, fun summer knit, which I am all for. Speaking of stripes, I didn't even mention what I'm wearing. So this is also home. This is the colorways Quilt and Chamomile, and this pattern is called the Olga Sweater by Petite Knit. This one has been pretty viral in the last, I guess since it came out, it's been very popular. We also have kits for this one on my website because it is such a great closet staple. The like boxy fit of it, the drop shoulder, the clever shaping on the back of the shoulder. It is so comfortable to wear. It almost feels like you're wearing like a sweatshirt, like your most comfortable pajama sweatshirt is what it feels like you're wearing. but what it looks like is much more polished and tailored and handmade. So definitely a big upgrade from a comfy sweatshirt, even though that's what it feels like. That's the comfort level that I'm looking for, especially in my handmade wardrobe. And it's not every handmade piece feels that comfortable. So sometimes we sacrifice comfort for aesthetics, but in this one, it really is the best of both worlds, and it's popular for a reason, at least in my opinion. The Olga is probably in my top 5 most worn knits, at least so far this year, because I have worn this with leggings to pick up the kids from school. I've worn it with shorts on a hotter day as like an extra layer. I've thrown it over my shoulders. I have worn it over a dress for a little bit of a dressier look with sandals. It really is like, it's as good as people say. And honestly, I could definitely think of 5 other color combinations, even just in home, that I would love to have. It would be great as a single color also. There's so many great ideas on Ravelry and the projects, if that's your thing. Okay, I think I'm gonna get this out of the water. It seems to be ready to go. Soaked my chapter shawl, I've wrung it out a little bit, and I've dried it a little bit in a towel, so it's still pretty damp, but she's ready to go. So being that this is a pretty angular project, I'm gonna try to keep it as straight as I can, but I'm honestly also not gonna stress about it because I'm never going to be wearing this like flat. It's always going to be curled around me, so I'm not too worried about it. I love these knit blocker pins because it's a whole piece that has a lot of pins in it rather than going one at a time. Pinning is just so much easier. This is when I start thinking I should have done this on the floor because it's really too big for my table. It always is. I never learn. I just want to do it on a table. I don't want to hunch on the floor. See, now interestingly, this side is blocking longer than the other side, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to kind of unpin and like coax it, scooch it back to where I want it to be so that it lines up with the same marking on my blocking boards. Always use blocking boards with the lines on them because it helps you keep an idea of measurements, even if you're not like measuring exact to the inch. Sometimes you need to do that, but for this, it's not that big a deal. I just want it to match on each side. So I have pinned everything, and now I'm gonna just go put it in a sunny window. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I know this video was a little bit of a random catch-all update on things going on. I have some knitting to do. Spoiler alert, I chose a dinner party combination for my flock vest, and I've already gotten started, but I'll save that for the next video, as well as updates on, I'm sure, so many other things. Bye, y'all.